Let's get political.
So today I'm joined by Grace Otto.
Once again. Hello.
And together we are going to take a political compass test online.
For all of you viewers out there, we are both very left-leaning, and we are going to see how left we are and kind of compare that with where American politics are right now.
Also, we figured this was a convenient way to kind of, I guess, put our biases out there. Because I feel like we are going to be talking about current events eventually on this channel, and we're not going to pretend that we're completely unbiased. We're going to be as objective as we can.
But frankly, nothing is without bias, and so letting people sort of know where we personally stand
on, every current topical issue, especially.
Yeah. Without further ado,
let's jump into it.
Ooh, man, first one is a doozy. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations.
Strongly agree. I'm personally of the standpoint that economic globalization is inevitable without some sort of global economic revolution. It should serve humanity above all if this is an unavoidable conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to select strongly agree.
I'm also on strongly agreeing. I think that sort of global monopolies sounds terrible and will create even more of like a rip between the lower class and the elite class, and we don't need any more of that. We're good. Yeah,
we're probably pretty good. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. This is a...
No way! That's me.
No, absolutely.
Like...
For me personally, absolutely not.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how do you expect your country to get better if you're not critical of your country and say, like, you want it to get better because it's not good now? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think this is a terrible philosophy to happen. This is the exact philosophy that led to Al-Qaeda. Gonna be honest. So, strongly disagree.
Yeah, same boat.
Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I'm gonna go ahead and say no here.
Yeah, I disagree with that. We have just become the world's police. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and definitely say strongly disagree, and I do think that that has to do with the fact that, like, we have overstepped every single boundary that we've kind of gotten ourselves into.
Yeah. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Well, it's gonna be a little hypocritical here. I'm gonna say agree. I'd say there are a fair amount of sources that effectively fuse these two values. But I would say that on principle, the very concept of this becoming an increasing phenomenon is pretty...
I think the only thing here is being able to kind of weed out what is actually information, what is satire. That's hard to say though, because I love John Oliver, and I love, you know what I mean? Like, I love Hassan Minhaj and like...
R.I.P.
I know, honestly, I'm gonna miss the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
He was awesome. But I wish that there was a third button where it was just like, because I think that unfortunately, like, that's the direction that we're heading in, and there's not a whole lot that we can do about it, and there are some benefits. There are some major pros of information being entertaining. It's just, can you navigate? Man, I want to start arguing with you. Like, I feel like so far all of our answers have been basically the same, and I wanna argue. I wanna fight. I always wanna fight, but I wanna fight.
You've been trying to fucking start fights. Alright, so now we're on to economic issues. This is where I would say things definitely get a little bit more nuanced. People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality.
Absolutely.
This is a belief that I hold very, very firmly. I'm going to put that as strongly agree. I'd say that the vast majority of the world's problems ultimately boil down to class. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Have you been outside?
Yeah, honestly. Oh my God.
Oh God.
It's building up to be a class war because corporations cannot be trusted. The trickle-down system doesn't work. Fuck Reagan. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fuck Ronald Reagan.
Fuck Ronald Reagan. Cute.
From each according to his ability, to each according to his need.
They are trying to yeet us into communism. This is a question that would yeet you into communism.
The thing that I think is really great about this quote is that they do decontextualize it. So if you're unfamiliar with it, you are going to just take it for what it is. From each according to his ability to each according to his need. To kind of unpack that, this describes a society in which people's needs are met, as opposed to the one right now where you can either be ultra wealthy, scraping by, or on the street.
That being said, I do think that incentivizing work is important. I don't believe in like the free market that we have right now. Doctors should get more. I think teachers should actually be under that boat too. I definitely believe in rearranging sort of the hierarchy of pay. And I definitely believe that sort of the one thing that we absolutely can do is take care of all of our citizens. So I do think that, because I do think that people naturally do want to work, but I do think that incentivizing certain kinds of work is going to stimulate the work in that field. And so if you want that field to explode, you incentivize that. If you want more doctors, you incentivize that. You know what I mean? So it's just, again, having a little something extra. Not the ridiculous wealth disparity that we have now, but just a little something. Because of what I just described, I am going to say disagree, which is weird because I don't know. I feel like my score is going to be very, very different from the last time.
Yeah, I'm personally definitely going to go with agree. I think this is a terrific concept. I think it's a really good way to structure society.
Are you saying that you don't incentivize some types of work at all?
No, I'm saying you absolutely could incentivize some types of work, but I'm saying that fundamentally people are going to be comfortable and happy with what they do with their life. I think if you're having anyone fulfill roles, especially with today's technology and our capability for automation, I think if you're having any people working really, really terrible jobs, and they're working those from the day they enter the job market to the day they die because they have no economic mobility, I think that's a terrible society. That's not something we can just flip the switch on, but I think that's something we need to get to work on.
Well, I definitely do, but I mean, you know this, I do believe in like a UBI or like, and everyone should be housed. I do think that meaning like the basic needs is just, if you are alive, you should be able to live and not be in fear of like bankrupting yourself because of medical bills, you know, all of the things that right now we have. Blanket, everyone gets taken care of, but I do think that there's gotta be a little bit of a reason to go and get an education, like a reason to go and do all of these things. I think, again, people will naturally do that, but yeah, a little extra.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying take money completely out of the equation either. Yeah. Now, the freer the market, the freer the people. I'm
no way.
Definitely going to say strongly
I say
disagree on this one.
Disagree.
Yeah, free market's great as far as inducing competition between firms to produce a better product. It's not great if the free market we're talking about just means stripping regulations away from giant corporations that then just pillage and burn the planet, essentially, like they've been doing since the Industrial Revolution began.
Plus, I mean, a free market, like, I understand competition, like, I myself am a competitive person, but I do think that, like, a free market, because, like, the whole idea is that they're clashing and competing with each other, I think that this idea of competition versus, like, collaboration is kind of here, too, and I think collaboration, especially if there's regulation on corporations, that's going to create a freer people. That's going to create a better society.
Yeah.
It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Yeah, that's horrifying. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I mean, no, I mean, in a really nice, perfect world, I do agree. I get why it's there, but again, this is my perfect world, and this is my perfect test, so I'm gonna say that I agree.
I would say with society being organized, both the way it is and the direction that I think it needs to move, I'd say that this is a difficult thing to avoid moving into the future. So I'm gonna say, for the time being, agree, mainly because I just don't really feel terribly strongly one way or another. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I'm going to go ahead and say...
I'm going to say I strongly agree.
I think investors are...
Cancer?
Well, I was going to say, in a lot of cases, necessary economic forces.
Sure.
I don't think stockbrokers provide much to society except allowing people to hoard wealth or lose people their money. And seeing as the stock market is, drum roll, just gambling, that's all they're doing.
So yeah, I said strongly agree. Sitting on money doesn't really help anything. Like a working class dollar does more to stimulate the economy than the rich's money, because the rich just hoard their wealth and then kind of just move it around so that they can have more of it, and I think that that's a crime. So yeah, I don't see a point.
The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders.
No.
Again, absolutely
No.
not. That's not even how it is in the current market. I mean,
No.
a lot of companies treat it like that's what it is. But you do have ethical responsibilities as a company that operates in the United States, specifically because of a lot of the scandals we've had in the market throughout history, you know, from anything from the original monopolies to like Enron, right? I mean, there are regulations in place to make sure that companies can't defraud or harm the public. They still do all the time.
And we got to this point because of like riots and because of like people demanding that companies have ethical concerns.
Yeah, and labor unions.
And labor unions.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, this is why, you know, riots. This is why we have Labor Day. Anyway, but yeah. So I definitely strongly disagree.
Yeah.
And I also strongly disagree on the next one. The rich are too highly taxed. What are you talking about?
This is self-explanatory. Strongly disagree.
Yeet the rich.
Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Your instinct on this question may be to say yes, because that's the way that our system operates right now. But if you think about it for a second, why should a rich person get better health care than someone who can't afford it?
Yeah, no one chooses to be alive. Let's take care of people. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, it really just doesn't make any sense. So
it really doesn't.
I'm definitely going to say strongly disagree.
Yeah, strongly disagree. Okay, so...
Ew, some of your personal and social values.
All right,
Let's
and
get
here's where we get into the nitty-gritty. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I'm going to go ahead and say strongly disagree here.
Strongly disagree.
Yeah,
Come on.
We don't necessarily have to get into this one, but that's definitely where my values are.
Just really quickly though, like, if we're gonna say it's a free country, then like we should let people choose. Like, like, isn't that the point of freedom or whatever you Republicans keep spouting? Anyway, whatever.
All authority should be questioned.
Absolutely. Strongly agree. Strongly agree.
Just because I'm advocating for a significant state presence in the sense that it serves the people doesn't mean I'm saying just let them operate willy-nilly. I'm talking full transparency.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Strongly disagree.
Yeah, no, I'm good. No.
Just because, Gandhi said that thing.
Thanks, Gandhi.
Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis.
I disagree. I actually strongly disagree. I very strongly disagree.
I disagree with this one as well.
This is one of the things that, like, as much as people don't like Russia, and now people are going to pop in and be like, oh my god, is she a Russian? Like, go up. Is she gonna... But anyway, when I went and studied at the Moscow Arts Theater like a summer ago, and one of the things that was always so shocking to me was like they respect their arts and they respect their theater so much that they were able to do crazy shit. Like they were able to have like puppets as like big as like a friggin' house, like bigger, like huge. Like they were able to like set fire to a piano. They were able to weld all of these pianos and like bang them together, like crazy stuff. And the thing is, like, art is an expression of the human condition, and like I think that it should be able to thrive, because I think that the more creative thought that you have in your population, the more innovation you're going to eventually get. Theaters that break even or theaters that make a profit are like the theaters that, it's like Broadway and stuff. It's like the theaters where like the old ladies come in and they're like, oh, I'm so excited to pay like $50 for my ticket. No one has that kind of money. like the people that theater is supposed to like get in contact with, they can't get in contact with, because instead it's just all stuff for the old people. So, no. Yeah, of course. Support your theaters. Support your arts.
Good parents sometimes have to spank their children.
No.
I
strongly disagree.
With this one.
I think that children should have rights, and I think that actually right now we have a mass population of children that don't have rights, and I think that that's kind of led us into being a population that fears authority and yada yada yada. Like, I think that I do not believe in violence towards people, and that includes children.
Yeah. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I strongly disagree. I think if you have any weed,
I think if you do drugs, you're a bad person.
You're a bad person. So I'm strongly agree. It should not be a criminal offense. People with serious inheritable diseases should not be allowed to reproduce. This concept is called eugenics. It's the thing that Hitler learned from us. Strongly disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline.
Absolutely not.
Strongly disagree.
Strongly
this goes back to like always question authority.
Yeah.
Kids accepting discipline all the time will not question authority. That's There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures.
Strongly agree. I strongly agree.
Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I'd say that this question really requires nuance. I think there are far fewer people in society that are completely content to never do anything and just completely suck at the teat of the state. Not saying that those people don't exist, but I think it's a lot fewer than people assume. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of factors that come into people not being able to work, simply not being able to motivate themselves to do jobs that are outside of their wheelhouse, any number of factors. So I would say I disagree, simply because right now this is the attitude of a lot of people who I don't think are very, very caring of others.
Yeah, and I also definitely have this sort of opinion on life that no one really decided to show up here, so why punish people for living?
Yeah. I would say nobody should die of homelessness or starvation, and people still do.
Yeah.
When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things.
That's a one-way ticket to suicide, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely.
Like, am I wrong? Like, that's the reason why we have such a depressed population, is because we're not being honest with how we feel about things. And instead of like digesting it and growing and moving through that and healing, we're like, no, let's just bandage it up with some booze or some sort of bandage. Yeah. I just flicked my hair. I don't know if you saw, I was like, bandage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for us.
No way.
Strongly disagree.
No way.
I think we've already made our case about that.
Pretty clear.
No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I think public broadcasts is good.
It's tough though. So for example, again with Russia and the kinds of plays that they can put on, is like the state can also shut down productions if it's anti-Russia.
Yeah.
If it's receiving public funding, it's at the government's disposal. Yeah. It's their call. So I also love like NPR, and I also love when PBS. Theaters get PBS, and like I love things that are publicly funded. I think it's just kind of like that's the possible sort of flip side of this coin.
Yeah. Definitely.
Just playing devil's advocate.
I think that's fair. I'm gonna put it as a soft disagree for me. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed, in the name of counterterrorism. Absolutely. Patriot Act. Patriot Act, Patriot Act, Patriot
We have
Act.
no privacy anymore, guys.
We have no
We have
privacy.
zero privacy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. I strongly disagree.
Horrible!
Yeah. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. No.
Because good people, because it depends on who the wrongdoers are.
Yeah.
It depends on what, it's like the history's only written by the victors. The wrongdoers could be the people that are trying to bring peace or trying to bring something good, and the government's like, I know.
Yeah, the wrongdoers can ultimately be whoever the state says are the wrongdoers.
Exactly.
And that's the main problem. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I'm going to put a soft agree here, but I am going to qualify it with that. I am staunchly against the death penalty in its current range of applications. I think when the time comes to bring the the people who are running our planet into the ground, both societally and economically, before The Hague, I would say that that's something that should be left up to the people. Ultimately, I'm not going to judge them one way or the other.
Abstract art doesn't represent anything and shouldn't be considered art at all. Absolutely not, and I'm going to tell you why, because most of art, 90% of art, is the projection of the viewer onto the piece of art. So it's not about the initial concept, it's about what the audience can extract from the art. So abstract art can absolutely speak to someone 100% of the time. Art always has meaning, and don't gatekeep art. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
that's my rant.
I fully agree with that. So I'm going to be saying strongly disagree. Abstract art is absolutely art.
Abstract art is art.
Come on.
Everything's art.
In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation.
This is stupid. No. What are you talking about?
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree.
No. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. I would say there are some cases.
That are a little too
just
far.
Especially heinous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say
soft agree, yeah.
The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist.
Nope. Writers and art.
Disagree. I think the other peoples play a really important role in society as it stands, especially manufacturer. I think laborers are incredibly important to society. That being said, writers and artists are terribly important as well.
Well, I think that this is more of like I don't know, I took it as more like a conceptual thing, because like the business person and the manufacturer, I think they all hold, the reason why I said strongly disagree is because they all hold equal weight. Yeah. They are all equally as important, therefore I disagree that there is one job that is more important than another, I suppose, for a rounded society.
This is true. I'm just interpreting my disagree as meaning the same thing. The strongly disagree, in my mind, how I'm reading this would imply that the writer and the artist have more leverage over laborers. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm kind of landing at a disagree.
Okay.
Yeah. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. You want to take this one?
Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Listen. No.
I'm gonna put this as a soft agree. There we go. Just
No, I'm just but honestly, people are people. Let people do what they want.
Seriously, that's it. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. No. I think if you inherently believe that getting older makes you more at peace with the way that things are, what you're actually looking at in most cases is people getting hammered down over years and years and years. Which I'm not judging. That is a thing that will likely happen to me.
It's fatigue. I mean, when you're up against something that you disagree with morally for your entire life, of course at some point you're gonna be like, whatever.
Astrology accurately explains many things. I know we're gonna have a difference of opinion here. I think astrology is interesting. I think it's fun. I do not think it particularly explains much. I think there are lots of ways. Why'd
you put strongly agree?
Oh. Strongly disagree. I think what you can read about astrology for your sign can help you reflect on what is happening in your life, and I think it serves a valuable and real purpose. But I don't think that the position that the stars are influences the way that you're going to live your life.
I think that it's one of those things that like it accurately explains things if it accurately explains things for you.
Sure. And that I will agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so maybe actually a soft disagree. But that's not to imply that there is a scientific correlation between the way one's life plays out.
I'm just saying, have you ever met a Pisces? Come on. I mean, have you ever met a Pisces?
Well, that's the thing, is that I agree with shit like that, you know?
I think that it accurately explains everything? No. No, I don't. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, fair.
So I'm going to agree.
Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly disagree.
No.
Charity is PR for rich people, most of the time. People in the middle class who contribute to charity, that's doing what you can. But when people make these huge donations to charity and then people point to that and say like, oh, this is why people don't need social programs, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I also don't think that it should be in the rich and powerful's hands to completely decide it's that decision. What? This is a slippery slope, and it's one that we're kind of in right now with all of our like tax loopholes and charity.
Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be illegal for the adult population. Now, let me say this. The porn industry as it stands is incredibly unethical and exploitative. However, I don't think pornography as a concept is bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So, I'm going to say strongly agree with the qualifier that currently things are fucked up.
I mean, people can have porn addictions, though.
This is true.
But then again, if you outlaw, I mean, then you have to outlaw anything that is addicting, which is not what we have right now.
Yeah.
So I think as it stands right now, if the porn industry gets better for everyone, for the workers, cool.
What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree.
Absolutely.
No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree. These days, openness about sex has gone too far.
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree.
Yeah. Like, a ton of kids can't even take sex ed in schools, and they end up pregnant at, like, 15.
Literally doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So, one of the first things you have to understand about this graph is that, as you can see, we've got authoritarian on the top, libertarian on the bottom. That axis essentially describes the general manner of the state. Is it 1984, or is it a completely anarcho whatever society?
Basically, the freedom of the people versus like having everything run by like the state.
And then you've got left and right, and your first instinct is going to be like, oh, left like liberal and right like Republican, but not necessarily, because it's fundamentally an economic scale. And there are other videos that get way more into detail with this. I'll link one of them right here by a channel called Second Thought, and he can kind of right over your face.
I was gonna say you just went right there.
No, it's gonna be top corner.
Oh, like right, like
thin bar.
Oh,
right there.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, you got it. And
this is dumb.
By a really great channel called Second Thought, and that can really get into how tangled economic and social values have become over time. For now, they tend to align, but they're not inherently aligned, right? So, this is interesting. So, authoritarian right, Hitler. Some people say Hitler was a leftist. Those people are
incorrect.
Are wrong. Margaret Thatcher, former Prime Minister of the UK. Personally, not a fan of Thatcher myself.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
So they're both an authoritarian right, and then an authoritarian left. You got Stalin, of course. Gandhi is situated in the libertarian left.
The left libertarian.
And I'm assuming that's Milton Friedman.
Probably. Yeah.
Right? Right? That's his first name?
I think so.
Okay. Oh,
We can either double check that or edit that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks about right. So I'm pretty
Basically there with you, but
slightly more authoritarian.
I am slightly more authoritarian.
That I did not see coming.
I didn't either, but I am more left than you. I'm more left and more authoritarian.
Interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
But I think that
Lefty, tanky.
freaking
No, not at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I wonder what put me in more authoritarianism. Like, not that I'm authoritarian literally at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is not...
To do up like a slight amount. Yeah. Okay. So to give you guys some context of where we are on there and how that reflects the answers that we gave, because I'm not going to put words in your mouth. You may have agreed with us on a lot of those or disagreed with us on a lot of those.
This is just two people that are extremely left. Like, we are genuinely extremely left, libertarians.
Yeah.
That is,
That's where we're at.
Someone like Sanders, as you can see right there, is actually much more right than you would think. A lot of people think that Warren is extremely, extremely left. She still falls under authoritarian right. And then we've got like Sanders and Gabbard, but Sanders, who is thought to be this sort of extremist, is not that extreme.
He's not that extreme.
He's not that extreme.
Because the fundamental thing to understand about this political compass is that it's not putting everyone in America relative to everyone in America. It's putting us, American government against the world.
If we were, getting mapped on, the American political compass, we wouldn't even make it. We wouldn't be on the compass.
That was us taking the political compass test. You all can do that too. Figure out where you kind of fit on that chart. Mm-hmm. I'm personally of the opinion that most people should be politically active. It affects all of us, and even if you're not worried about how it affects you, it affects everyone you love. So it's really something to get engaged with. As
someone who has previously volunteered and interned at political campaigns, it really is your civic duty to be involved and to be informed. I think a huge reason why we are in the place that we are is because we are not taking our civic duty very seriously. Yeah. I think people have more or less started to take their civic duty more seriously. Basically, just be an active citizen, because that's how you can create change. Well, that was our video. If you liked it, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, if you could hit that subscribe button, or hit that bell too. Leave a comment. Let us know how you did. How you doing? Yeah. What's going on? We got lots of new videos coming out. So stay tuned. Stay safe. And see you on the flip side. Pew, 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 pew.